check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for plenty more Royal Caribbean news, information, fun, and advice. And thank you for joining us here on YouTube. Every Monday, we are live on YouTube, and I'm going to answer as many Royal Caribbean Cruise questions as I can. Starting with the most important question: how many days until your next Royal Caribbean Cruise? Type your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. I have five more days until my next Royal Caribbean Cruise this Saturday, going on Mariner of the Seas. Oh, I can't wait. Just a 5-night cruise to Mexico, Western Caribbean, but I am so looking forward to it. I love Mariner of the Seas. I love Mexico. I love going to Mexico on Mariner of the Seas. This will be great. Very, very excited for that. And of course, we're also here to answer your Royal Caribbean cruise questions. What can I answer about Royal Caribbean for you? We actually had a number of questions already popping in the chat even before the stream began, including a number of super chats. So shout out to our super chatters today, starting with Edvira. Ed, I'm binging on old podcast episodes, currently in episode 144. Curious, when exactly did you move to Florida, since your earlier shows mentioned you lived in the Northeast? Thank you for the super chat, Ed. I moved to Florida in 2017. Limo Guy channel, thank you for the super chat, buddy. My first ever cruise on June 10th, 2023, Liberty of the Seas, Bermuda. I've learned so much from your vids. Thanks. Awesome, dude. Love Bermuda. It's a beautiful destination. So many cool things to do there. You're going to love it. Aaron Ross, thank you for the super chat. 31 days to Alaska on Ovation of the Seas for the first time. Love your celebrity coverage. Thank you. Seems like they tend to arrive at ports in the Caribbean and Alaska later than Royal. I'm not sure that's necessarily a trend. I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but I could be wrong on that. I don't have enough empirical data to determine that. We have a number of also our friends in chat already. I see Jennifer Keln from MEI Travel is here. Jen Green from MEI Travel is here. And where's Fox? I saw Fox in there. Fox is in there. Fox Owens from MEI Travel. Welcome, Fox. Good to see you, buddy. Our next question is from Jonesy with an epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Jonesy. How do you sail so much and have an amazing tan? Having a tan in Florida, thank you for the super chat. Having a tan in Florida is like having an igloo in the North Pole, I guess. I don't know. Everyone's got one. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not impressive because we live in Florida. But more importantly, I just don't care to get tan. I wear a lot of sunscreen. I really started wearing I switched to rash guards because I'm lazy and applying sunscreen is a pain in the butt. And I feel like most of the time, whenever I got sunburned, it'd either be on my body or on my arms. So by wearing a rash guard, that really helped me quite a bit. So really all I have to do is focus on my face and my head and my neck and, parts of my hands. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm not really like a sun worshiper. I wasn't when I was younger, but not anymore. I just can't be bothered. I prefer shade. I like my favorite day on a cruise ship is sitting in the shade on the pool deck with a nice breeze. Oh, love that. Chantra Williams from Hello from Celebrity Apex. Welcome. It is good to see you. Galvin is on Brilliance of the Seas right now in Costa Rica. That is so awesome. What a cool place to be on. Tony wants to know, do they sell WoW bands on Anthem of the Seas? They should, yes. They brought the WoW bands back, and Anthem had the WoW bands pre-pandemic, so I would expect that. I don't have definitive knowledge that they brought it back on specifically on Anthem. But they brought it back on other ships that had it, so it stands to reason they probably have it also on Anthem of the Seas. Chip, you're going on Independence in 4 days. Congratulations making Pinnacle. How awesome is that? Wow, reaching the very, very top tier of Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor Society. Fantastic. Lori wants to know, what is my favorite thing to do in Falmouth, Jamaica for an excursion? I do not have a really good recommendation. If I were to go back tomorrow, I would look at the Hilton Rose Hall. It's not the Royal Caribbean. You get like day pass resortforaday.com. That's where I would look because I went there a number of years ago and it was pretty nice. Let's see here. Nicholas, thank you for this epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, buddy. Hi, Matt. Just want to say thanks. I'm a young solo traveler, and your videos helped me plan my first cruise in November. Nice. You're booked on Oasis at 237 days. Do you have any tips to make the most of my next cruise? We certainly share. Thank you for your super chat, of course. We certainly share a lot of tips when it comes to making the most out of your out of any cruise, for that matter. I think number one, I mean, when you're talking about making the most out of your cruise, to me, that means you want to take advantage of the investment you're making in paying for the cruise and getting the most out of it. And the way that I see that is by taking advantage of all the ways you can save money and have an awesome time. So certainly, pre-book things before the cruise, Nick. You already know this, but things like pre-booking your drink package, your Wi-Fi, shore excursions, dining. It's going to be cheaper if you book it before the cruise than if you waited to book it on board. Also, when we're talking about pre-booking shore excursions, not only can you save money, but more importantly, I think you're going to find a really awesome tour for you to enjoy. One of the biggest mistakes people make on a cruise is they don't plan their tours. They get off either they get on the ship and then try to plan it, or they get off the ship and try to wing it. And that just leads to frustration in a lot of cases because you just don't know what's available necessarily. You might luck out and find something cool, but why leave it to luck? Why leave it to chance? Plan ahead for your shore excursions there. My last tip for you, Nick, is the cruise compasses. Read a past cruise compass from, in your case, Oasis of the Seas. That way you get an idea of what to expect in terms of activity. So that way you don't miss out on anything that sounds really cool that you might want to otherwise enjoy it. Janet wants to know who gets free drinks when playing in the casino. Anybody that reaches the second tier of the Casino Royale program, Janet, Prime. So Choice is the first tier, and that's like pretty much anybody on the ship is Choice. But Prime, when you reach Prime status, you get free drinks in the casino. Sharon, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Sharon. I'm gonna be drinking a lot of water tonight, guys, because I have the worst case of dry mouth for some reason. I don't know why. Sharon, I don't see a message from you, but Sharon, oh, there it is. I found it. What month is the best for an Alaska cruise, and which ship would you suggest? It's a great question. It's kind of like, I mean, there isn't a right or wrong answer. There's advantages to every month of the cruise season, right? If you go in May uh or June or April, you're going to pay the least for your cruise. Shoulder season is very cheap. If you go in September, October, also extremely cheap. The problem with April and May and September and October is it's going to be the coldest part of the season. It could be rainy, especially when you're talking about September and October. And it's also during school, which can be a problem if your kids are, stuck. You have to adhere to the school system. Now, if you go during a warmer month like July or August or even late June, you're going to get the better generally. I mean, temperatures swing a lot in Alaska, but you get better weather more or less in the warmer months, but it's more popular, and you're going to pay way more for that. So, my favorite month is June. It's still early in the season, but you can sometimes beat some of the schools out of school, so to speak, and get up there. And what ship would I suggest? If you've never been, definitely do a cruise out of Seattle. I'm assuming, Sharon, you're an American. It's just easier to cruise out of Seattle and and go from there for a variety of reasons. So Ovation or Quantum of the Seas, when we're talking about 2023 right there. Let's see here. Becky Megan from MEI Travel. Hello, Becky. It is good to see you. Welcome. Breeze and shade. I love a good breeze when it's shady. Oh, so nice there. Luna wants to know how close to your sailing can you add another passenger? It's more a question of cost than anything else. Number one issue is there room on the ship? And you might say, well, I already have a room, Matt. Why does it? Of course, there's room. Well, don't forget, the ship has a capacity, not just in terms of how many cabins there are, but people and having to make sure they have, enough lifeboats and all that. So that's one consideration. More than likely, the bigger issue is adding a person at the very last minute can cause a change in price, and that may make it untenable. But you can add it at any time up to about 72 hours before your cruise sails, but you may incur a price change. And in some cases, it's a very bad one right there. So, Meredith, your very first cruise on Royal Caribbean this Saturday on Mariner. I will be on Mariner this season as well. So, hopefully, we'll see each other. Well, hopefully, you'll see me because I don't know what you look like. Say hello to me if you do see me. I love Mariner in the Seas. Let's see here. Nicole says, I've seen some people recommending leaving passports in the safe. What do you do or recommend? Always take your passports with you when you get off the ship in a foreign port, with the exception of Labadee or Kukiki. You're not getting left behind over there. But when you go on shore in Cozumel, Costa Maya, San Juan, Puerto Rico, it's an American Flores, but I wouldn't bring in San Juan because I could fly home on a driver's license. Bahamas, right? Take your passport with you. The reason is if you get stuck somewhere, you need that passport to actually leave the country and fly either home or meet up the ship somewhere else. If the passport's back in your cabin, it doesn't do you any good. And no, a photocopy of the passport doesn't do you any good. A photocopy of a passport is like a photocopy of cash. It's useless. Also, if you say, well, I'll just go to the nearest U.S. consulate and get an exit visa. Yeah, you can do that. Do you know where the nearest U.S. consulate is? In some cases, it is very far away. As an example, did you ever Google Map where the nearest U.S. embassy is in Mexico from when you're in Cozumel? It's like 8 hours away. That includes a ferry ride and a taxi ride. Not ideal. Bring your passport. What if you lose it, Matt? What if you lose your iPhone? What if you lose your kid? What if you lose anything? There's risks in life, but being prepared to me is more important. So I always bring it. Diamond Dave, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Hey, Matt, no question. Just a comment. Recently sailed on Symphony of the Seas. I found out I was charged for 4 pool towels once I returned home, even though I returned them. Yeah, that happened. That happened as 2 or 3 times to me as well. It stinks. The good news is you can call in and get it taken off. It's a pain in the butt. One of those things, and I don't know, maybe you did this already, but the only thing you could do is obviously that last day of the cruise, check your bill one more time to make sure it's not on there. That's always important right there. Hey, Darren, watching you from the living room of the seas. Oh, I thought that was a typo. No, I mean like he's at home. You got me there. I thought for sure you were on a cruise ship. Nice. Aaron Ross with another super chat. Aaron, thank you so much. Your one favorite bite of food from the new main dining room menu. Thoughts on the dinner in Solarium? I think I heard you talk about it. Favorite bite of food from the new main dining room menu. I mean, I love Indian food, so I'm gonna always go towards a really good veggie curry, whether it's aloo gobi or some other medley. But I mean, I know that's not for everybody. I'm still a big fan. I mean, heck, I love the French onion soup, the spaghetti bolognese. Those are real classics. Very basic things, but you know what? They taste really good every time I get it. I'm trying to think when I was on Wonder, like what was something that wasn't like spaghetti bolognese, French onion soup that I absolutely loved. I'd have to look back at my photos to remember which ones they were. But in a pinch here, I'll just say spaghetti bolognese, French onion soup. Thoughts on dinner in the Solarium? I think you mean the Solarium Bistro. I think it's great. I wouldn't. It's not the kind of restaurant where I'm like, I want to go there every night of my cruise. But it is somewhere I like to go just to mix it up, especially when it's like on a 7-night cruise, maybe day 4 or 5. Because number one, the Solarium Bistro is complimentary. Yes, kids can go there to the Solarium Bistro. But it's nice to like mix it up by like day 4 or 5. We just need something a little bit different. And I like that quite a bit. Let's see here. Morgan, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Matt, love the videos. They're very helpful. You're very welcome. How does the cash account works? Can a spending limit be put on a child CPAS? Yes, you can add a limit to the child CPAS. That's really easy to do. For a cash account, essentially, a couple things. Number one, you have to, before you leave the ship, you have to settle your account. So you can make it a cash account, but you can't leave the ship until you've paid it off, whatever it is, right? So that almost goes without saying. Another thing to keep in mind, Morgan, is that with a cash account, you may run into spending limits for yourself, where all of a sudden you can't charge anything until you go to guest services to put money down, pay off things, whatever the case may be. So keep that in mind. My advice to you, Morgan, and this is for everybody, is whether you want to do cash or not, use a credit card. I mean, if you don't have a credit card, well, there could be other issues. That's a longer conversation. But if you have a credit card, definitely put one down. Remember, you can always go there to guest services, that is, and pay it off before the cruise because they always charge you at the end of the cruise. So, it's just easier to have a credit card account, quite frankly. But if you want to go cash, just keep in mind you have to go over there and check it out. Let's see here. JP, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you over here. JP. I don't see a message from you, JP. I'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you. Oops. If I get a Royal Caribbean gift card, why can't I apply it once on board? Because this is why I don't recommend Royal Caribbean gift cards. They don't work very well. They're not like gift cards at the Gap, as an example, which is unfortunate. It's just a pain in the butt, and that's why I don't recommend it. So, yeah. Sorry about my voice cutting in and out. I just realized maybe my microphone was at the wrong angle. I think I have to do more to. And let me just one more thing. Let me check over here. Mic setup. I'm going to bring up the gain a little bit. Let's put it up here. That should help a little bit more with ensuring that you can hear everything I'm saying. So I apologize if I missed anything that I said before. Ruth Ann, thank you for the super chat. Lemon character lifting baby lemon in the air to congratulate him. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Chris wants to know, what's the word on the Skypad replacement on Independence of the Seas? Basically, the structure is still there. They're doing things like beanbag toss and ping pong and things of that nature. Complementary activities. But yeah. Carrie B, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! Celebrating 30th birthday from Izumi on Mariner right now. Thank you, Matt, for all the work you and your channel put in to make our vacation easier. My friend, thank you so much for your generosity. I will be coming on Mariner this season on Saturday. So, I mean, this is all due respect and love and admiration. Please hurry up and have your cruise be over with so I can get on board, please. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. What an awesome guy. Thank you. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. Leaving for Miami. My port time is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Is that in the time zone of where the ship currently is, or is it always based from Miami? I don't know what you mean. Like, if my port time is 8 to 5. Oh. You mean you're going on a cruise, whatever, and you're in Cozumel and you're there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. What time is that? Well, it's actually dependent on the ship. Sometimes it is ship time, which is usually the time at which you left your home port, in this case, Miami. Sometimes it's local time. It's up to the captain to decide, actually. So, yeah, hope that makes sense. Let's see. Tony Diaz, hello, welcome. Cruz Ian, first time catching a live show. Have been out of the loop as we're now booking rooms for 3. Well, that's a fair excuse. Not a great excuse, but a fair excuse for missing them out. Ian, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you here. Cruise people, thank you for the super chat. When taking soda off the ship, can you put it in your check bags or do you need to carry it on? We're taking soda on the ship. I don't know where I got off. You need to put it in your you need to put it in your carry-on bags, not your checked bags. The reason for that is if you put it in your checked bags, they won't be able to tell the X-ray machine if it's like beer or soda. So your bags get flagged and they get held back. Put it in your carry-on bags. Chevy Dude wants to know, do you have to pay gratuities or is it optional? It is compulsory. It may look like it's optional. It's not. They're compulsory. Either you get charged the gratuities automatically on board your cruise or you prepay them beforehand. So whichever one you prefer, there's not an advantage or disadvantage to either one, especially when you're only 60 days out. Let's see here. New and old Funko Pop unboxings. First cruise ever on fall break on Freedom of the Seas. Any tips, insight on cruising in October? I mean, it is hurricane season, so there's the possibility of, stormy weather, namely hurricanes, but more than likely you'll be fine. I take cruises all the time in the fall, and it should be a lot better over there. So I don't think you have to worry too much about that. My advice to you is just research your ship, learn about what Freedom of the Seas has to offer, pre-book, research those things. So yeah. Let's see here. Carrie Camillo. Thank you, Carrie, for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Carrie. Well, Carrie, if you have a message, I'll be happy to answer it. But thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you. Skyfrog, the Windjammer Indian food is awesome. Rebecca Winneberger. What's up, Rebecca? Good to see you. Welcome. Let's see here. Lisa wants to know, will a crew member on Wonder of the Seas have a wheelchair to wheel some from the pier to the port in Cozumel? No. Is this like a joke about drunks, or is this like a serious question? Either way, the answer is no. Avery, what's the best thing to do in Costa Maya? I always go, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is, because I'm going there this week or on Tuesday of next week. Maya Chan, MayaChan, Maya Chan. It's not the Royal Caribbean. Just Google it. It's a great place. Kristen says, hey, Matt, I wanted you and everyone to know I saved almost $1,500 my icon selling by finding a quality travel agent. This is so important. Kristen, I'm so glad to hear that. I always talk about why everybody should use a good travel agent. Here you go. That's all you need to know right there. Chris, thank you for the super chat, buddy. My wife and I just got back from Jewel of the Seas. We watched a lot of your videos to help us prepare magnet hooks, power plugs, and other tips. Awesome. So glad to hear that. That is fantastic. Ethan wants to know, is a Sabor and Allure worth it? I know it's a dying breed. It's not what it used to be, Ethan. I think it's worth it for just simply the margaritas, the chips and salsa. The guacamole is not what it used to be, but you know what? It's still good. I like it, but I'm a sucker for Mexican food, so you know it's not what it used to be, but I still think it is worth going to, especially if you have a dining package. Diamond Dave, thank you again for the super chat, buddy. Diamond says, Dave says, 13 days to explore transatlantic. Do you know if I can use a WowBound on Explorer? You cannot. It's not available on Explorer, unfortunately. Sorry, my friend. Let's see. Next question. Mark, thank you for the super chat. How do transatlantic cruises differ? Well, obviously they're longer. You already knew that. Basically, I think number one, the age range in general skews a little bit higher. So what I mean by that is it can be less kids on board. You know, usually we're talking about, gosh, right around, if not more than 14 nights, 2 weeks. Also, generally speaking, obviously you're gonna have a lot of the onboard activities because they have a lot of sea days. Things like progressive trivia are a very popular event, which people play every day, and there's a cumulative score to it as well. I got a good laugh out of this one. This is awesome. There is an escape room on Harmony of the Seas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. Yeah. So I'm not sure why you're not. Maybe it's not available to book up while you're looking at it yet, but yeah. Daniel wants to know, any idea why the Bamboo Room is only on Navigator and Mariner and not on any new ships? You know, it's a good question. I don't know. This would be a question for Lincoln D'Souza or someone else on the food and beverage team over at Royal Caribbean. I'm sure there's a good answer. There's a lot of reasons that go into why one venue's on one ship and not on another. Whether we're talking about the Bamboo Room, whether we're talking about Portside Barbecue, whether we're talking about Mason Jar, or really any the concept. There's just a lot of variables at play, and a lot of it has to do with, quite frankly, what's happening at the time when they make that decision, financially, logistically, trends, surveys, all that stuff. Michael S., one of my very good friends. What's up, Michael? What's your favorite sail oil location on Mariner? Helipad for sure. It's hard to go wrong with a helipad. You know, you've got the perfect unobstructed view. Now, granted, the warmer months of the year, the helipad is like the surface of the sun, so a bit hot down there, and there's no bar service. But for the views, absolutely love that quite a bit. Otherwise, I might lean towards the back of the ship. I like the back, top pool deck, but definitely the helipad for sure. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Lots of questions, guys. Trying to get to as many as I possibly can. BK Lounge, thank you for the super chat. Do most men's bathrooms have baby changing tables? Ooh, I seem to recall them all having them. My kids are now old enough that it's been a little while since I've been there. I don't know if all of them do. I should take that back. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not certain. And obviously, BK Lounge, I'm not sure what ship you're on. I want to say most of them do, but I'm not 100% certain that they all do. So I don't want to make a generalized statement there. So I'll just say I don't know. Let's see. Ruth Ann wants to know, what is there to do on the ship at sea? I'm in a wheelchair and sailing alone. Here's a good answer for you, Ruth, because there's a number of activities happening. Read a past cruise compass. So, Ruth Ann, if you go to royalcaribbeanblog.com, in our main menu, there's a link that says cruise compass. Click on that. Find the ship you're sailing on. I'm not sure what ship you're sailing on. And that will give you an example, a ballpark idea of what to expect in terms of activities. And that will give you like what will appeal to you and give you an idea of what to expect, quite frankly. So, John Walker, love your whiskey. Thank you for the super chat. Favorite things to do in Bermuda? Oh, definitely Horseshoe Bay Beach, Pink Sand Beach, really good. Carrie, I found your message. I think this is from earlier. We're going on Navigator this season. My son has an online class he has to do on our port day. Will the ship be on California time or port time? Trying to figure out excursions. It depends. This is a question we had a little bit earlier, Carrie, and the answer is it depends. There isn't the decision to either change time zones or stick to Pacific time depends on the ship's captain. And they go both. I've seen it happen both ways. There isn't a way necessarily to know with 100% certainty what to expect, which I know is frustrating, especially if you want to plan your port times there. But I wish there was a better answer. Jessica DeSantis is going on your first cruise at the end of the month. I know everyone says phones should be on airplane mode, but what about smart watches? I don't know that smart watches that matter because I don't know if they can access roaming cellular networks necessarily, but just make sure that it can't do that and you'll be fine. I don't have a smart watch. I don't have any watches. I'm a big nerd, but I never liked the feeling of a watch. It's just ended up bothering me more than anything like that. So that's just me. Jeff says the deluxe beverage package for Icon of the Seas is $88 in May. Do you think they're going to keep raising prices? People are paying for it, Jeff. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't have a good answer, but it's clear the drink package is extremely popular, and it's also clear to me that because of its popularity, Royal Caribbean is going to keep raising prices until they reach a point where people start saying, "We ain't booking it at that price." And thus far, I don't think they've reached that point. JP, thank you again for the super chat. And JP, I don't see your message, so I apologize. But I will keep an eye out for you, my friend. Thank you. Aaron says, I know you love Mariner of the Seas. What are your favorite things about the ship? I love the bamboo room. Playmakers. It's a good price. Usually also great value. I mean, right now, excellent value. You know, it's a big ship. There's plenty to do, but it's not, giant ship. It is a I don't say diamond in the rough, but it is a vastly underrated cruise ship. The Mariner of the Seas and the Navigator of the Seas, really, really good. Lisa, this is a serious question. My mom is nervous about using a scooter because getting a tax. Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. So here's my recommendation for you. Because using a scooter because of getting. I see what you're asking now. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, my advice to anybody who has mobility issues, like your mom, is to work with a company to have a wheelchair provided for you. Now, if your mom is in an electric scooter, and obviously I can understand why you might not want to bring that off the ship. Is it possible for you to push your mom in a regular wheelchair? That you'd have to bring two, obviously, in that situation, but that might be the best course of action. I'm not sure of anything beyond that. So I apologize I'm not more helpful. Aaron, what are the perks for booking at next cruise? Lower deposit and extra onboard credit. I heard you can sign up for the perks, but have time to go home and officially book with your travel agent. You do, but there's a downside. By doing so, you get less of the benefits are not as good. So, and in my opinion, whenever I look at that option, I was like, oh, this is a waste of my time. Like, it's not a waste. I mean, it is money, but it's so insubstantial. It's so little that it doesn't matter compared to actually booking a specific sailing. So, yeah. Let's see. Next question. Oh my God, so many good questions, guys. I'm trying to do as much as I can here. Keegan, where do you prepay for your gratuities on the website? You don't. You have to call Royal Caribbean. It sounds like you booked on your own. Your travel agent can do it for you, but if you didn't book with a travel agent, you have to call Royal Caribbean. Eric, when you have the drink package, how long in between drinks do you have to wait? There's no time limit on Royal Caribbean. I know Carnival does that. Royal Caribbean does not. Let's see here. Tukes Vegas in Cozumel. Thoughts on Mr. Sancho's? Don't go. It's terrible. Not what it used to be. I was very disappointed the last time I went. And I have a review of it at realcaribbeanblog.com if you want more information on it. Larry, thank you for the super chat. Larry, I don't see a message from you, Larry. I'll keep an eye out for it. And by the way, shout out to Megan Hayes is in the chat right now. Megan may not like Dave Matthews Band as much as her friend does, but Megan's still a pretty cool person. Sean McNamara, thank you for the super chat. Coming from northern Palm Beach County to Port Everglades, do you recommend Brightline, Uber, Lyft, or drive and park for family of three? I would do Uber or Lyft personally. I know my friend Billy from cruisehabit.com likes Brightline. I'm just more of I want to go on my schedule, not someone else's schedule. But I've heard very good things about Brightline. And I'm sure Brightline will be cheaper. So if money is an issue, Brightline the way to go. Otherwise, Uber or Lyft for the convenience factor. Ron Ladowski. What's up, Ron? Thank you for the super chat. Just want to say hi and thanks for all your cruise advice. You're very welcome, Ron. Hey, you know what, Ron? When you're at home right now, I want you to have a shot of tequila just for me. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your generosity. Let's see here. Next question is from Kayla and wants to know, do you have to print your CPass or can I download it to my Apple Wallet? You can download it to your Apple Wallet. No problem at all. Esco Beats wants to know, is the thermal suite worth it on Harmony? If you go there enough times, yeah. I mean, the thermal suite, the nature of it is a come as you go kind of thing, right? But if you go there, once a day or close to it, yeah, you get your money's worth out of it. So as long as you go there enough times, sure. Gaming with Julian, thank you for the super chat. Which Royal Caribbean cruise ships have water slides? A lot of them. I don't have time, unfortunately, to go through every single one, but more ships today have them than don't. The ships that don't have them, Vision class ships, Radiance class ships only have water slide for really young children. Allure doesn't have it, and the Quantum class ships don't. That's about it, I think. Explorer has it now. Voyager has it. Mariner has it. Venture has it. Yeah, I think that's the list right there. I don't have them. Thank you for your generosity, my friend. Phyllis wants to, and Crystal want to know, if I purchase the Voom internet, can I reserve it for me with one device? My guests have the second device. Yes. No, you don't. You can just, you want to share that? You get a 2-device plan? Absolutely, you can share that. While you can't share a drink package, you can share a Voom internet package. Laura, thank you for the super chat. Booked on Wonder of the Seas this summer, looking to add a person to our kids and have Royal choose a room. Have you ever done this? How does this work? Let's see. You're booked on Wonder, looking to add a person to our kids' room. So do you have a guaranteed room already and you want to, let's say there's like 2, you want to go to 3? Is that what you're asking? I mean, when you're modifying any reservation, you're going to either call your travel agent or Royal Caribbean, and this may incur, and most likely will incur, a reprice of the room. So it's not as simple, Laura, as let's say you paid $1,000 for your cabin. Now you want to add a third person. It's going to be, I don't know, an extra, whatever, how many. It's if you rebook the cruise today. Just keep that in mind. But call Royal Caribbean if you booked it with them. Otherwise, your travel agent. And for future reference, always use a good travel agent. That way, things like this are way easier to understand and figure it out. Let's see here. Mary wants to know, does Royal Caribbean have an internet package in order to use the chat feature in the Royal Caribbean app? No, you do not have to use an internet package to use the chat feature. Totally free, Mary. When you get on board the ship, you connect to the Wi-Fi, and it'll say, Mary, doesn't use your name. It'll say, which do you want? Do you want to, you have an internet plan to access, or do you just want to use the Royal Caribbean app? You click on, I just want to use the Royal Caribbean app, and you are good to go, including the chat feature. Cameron's got a question for us. My son is dying. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. He's really scared if he won't be able to spend his vacation by himself with his 15-year-old brother. So could you please answer me? I'm not sure what I could answer. I feel, first and foremost, I'm really sorry for your son's situation, but I don't know what you want me to answer. It's not really a question in there. You just asked me to answer a question. But if you want to retype the question in there, I'll try to keep an eye out for it. Hope your son does okay. Hopefully the doctors are wrong and everything pulls out, but man. Gary, thank you for the super chat. When selecting traditional dining, can you ask for a table of 2 or is it all shared table? You can certainly ask for one, Gary. When you get to the main dining room on day 1, go down there right around 1 o'clock, ask to speak to the head waiter and make that request there. You should be good to go there. Andy Wilson, thank you for the super chat. If I have a prohibited item while boarding, which you're taking, how do I get in the back at the end of the cruise? Oh, it's really easy, Andy. When you walk off the ship and you're off the ship now, you're in the cruise terminal, there will be a table along the way that has all the prohibited items, and they'll give it back to you, and you can pick it up over there. Wu-Tang Live, best month ship sell the most millennials? I don't know, man. That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's too difficult to predict that kind of thing without any kind of information from Royal Caribbean. And I'm not sure that, quite frankly, there is a sailing or not that skews one way or another. Maybe a short sailing, like on Freedom of the Seas, but I beyond that, I'm not even sure. Lauren, thank you for the super chat. Our ship docks at Coquille at 7 a.m., but we'll not get off that early. You think we should book a day bed to ensure we get a spot? I don't know that you necessarily have to book a day bed specifically for that. There are plenty of chairs on Coco Key for you to be able to get one. Now, will it be where you want to be? Will it be as convenient as you'd like it to be to a certain location? Maybe not. Really, when you're booking a day bed, a cabana, whatever, that is about saying, I would rather have the convenience factor, and I'm willing to pay for it, along with some other benefits as well, obviously. But if your concern is if you roll off the ship at 10:30 in the morning, will there not be any chairs for you? No, there will be chairs. Maybe you might have to go to a different beach because they're not available at this one, or you might have to go to the other end of the beach to get one. Does that make sense? So it's more a question of how much do you prioritize where you'd be, or are you going to say, Matt, you know what? I just want to go to the beach. I want to find a spot somewhere, and I'll be okay wherever. Then you don't need to book one. Otherwise, yeah, it might not be a bad idea to have a reserved spot just for you and your family. Teresa, does Royal Caribbean discontinue allowing us to bring an extension cord and power strip? Yes, they've never allowed it, Teresa. So those discontinue is the wrong word, but no, they prohibit it. Yes, they don't allow you to bring one on there. Let's see here. Michael Sword wants to know, do you have any idea which airports that fly in and out of for the 7-day group cruise in March on Rhapsody? Yeah, to Panama. Panama City for both, Michael. Panama is a very small country. So regardless of where the cruise begins and ends, Panama City is where you want to go in and out of. Lots of cool questions. I love the questions. Very, very varied over here. Let's see here. Aaron Ross, again, dude, thank you for the super chat. Which theme can I expect for a night 8 in the main dining room? Don't know. When you get about 2 or 3 days before your cruise, Aaron, that should populate in the Royal Caribbean app for you to figure out. Next question is from Tyler. Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Took your advice a few weeks ago, and I'm taking my mom for her first cruise on Symphony of the Seas. Thanks for all the information you give. You are very welcome. You're going to love it, dude. Thank you for your generosity. Clifton, are WoW bands available on Oasis? Yes. Esco Beats, can you use Facebook Messenger to chat with family off the ship if you have a Wi-Fi package? Yes. Elizabeth, I don't like it. I think there are better options. If it were me, I would cancel Mr. Sanchez and I would go to Nachi Kokum, quite frankly. I think is better. Gaming with Julian, thank you for the super chat. Oh, I answered your question already, but I reversed answered which ships don't have it. Again, Vision class. The Radiance class ships don't have water slides for adults or older kids. They have a very juvenile slide. The Quantum class doesn't have water slides, and Allure of the Seas doesn't have a water slide. I think that's basically the ships that don't have them right there. John wants to know, are sea lice something to be concerned about in the Bahamas? Concerned? No, I mean, things can happen, right? I mean, it can happen to anybody, just like jellyfish stings, slipping and falling. I mean, these are accidents, or, these things can happen. Is it likely to occur? No, I've been in the Bahamas ocean, believe it or not, a couple different times this year. I haven't had an issue with it, right? Sometimes it just happens, but, it's easily treatable. So that's the good news. And obviously, it's not what anybody wants. But I wouldn't go to the lengths, John, of saying, oh, John, you shouldn't go in the ocean now because of that. I think that's silly. I think it's just going a little too far with that concern. It's just it's a possibility, but nothing I would be concerned with beyond simply, if it happens, we'll deal with it. The Teresa McChain. Teresa, thank you for the super chat. 67 days till the Navigator group cruise with my good old friends, Josh and Tony. Trying to redeem myself. Wow, being nice to Tony and Josh. What's that like? Whew. Thank you, Teresa, for the epic super chat. Always appreciate you. Thank you. Becky, you are not wrong. It is crazy how busy it is right now. Jose, I love the WoW bands. I love the convenience of them. If nothing else, Jose, I like being able to just simply be able to open my cabin door very easily. So I'm a big fan of that. Steve Hook, what's going on, man? Welcome. NYC Lover for Life wants to know, is iFly and North Star complimentary only on port days? Correct. That's correct. Carol wants to know, where do you prepay your gratuities? You have to call Royal Caribbean. It's not on the app. It's not on the website. You have to call Royal Caribbean. Unless you use a travel agent, then your travel agent is who you have to call. Anthony will be sailing on Voyager Seas in May, leaving out of Galveston. What's your thoughts on the new terminal in Galveston? Super easy. Probably one of the best terminals, quite frankly. Cruise terminals right now. I think it's even better than Miami. Super convenient, super efficient. Can I use my passport card to board? Yes. Just keep in mind, if you got stuck somewhere, Anthony, you're in Cozumel and you got injured or whatever, and you missed the ship, you would not be able to fly home with that. Just keep that in mind because the passport card is only good for rail and cruise travel. But yes, you can use it on a cruise ship. Next question is from Autumn, first time cruiser here. On the last day, disembarkation day, what's your recommendation on earliest time to schedule the return flight home that day? I'm not sure which port you're going out of, but as a general rule of thumb, noon is pretty much the gold standard. Don't go anything before noon. I mean, could you do like 11:30, 11:45? Yeah. But since it's your first time, noon and later, totally fine. All right, so here's Cameron's follow-up question. What are the age requirements for kids? Like, because my son is almost 13, but on the cruise, he'll be 12. So can he do activities without adults? Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of activities on board, Cameron. And this is your question is I mean, it's a very broad question. But there are a number of activities, depending on which ship you're going on. Again, I don't know what ship you're going on, but as an example, there aren't really age restrictions on activities unless it specifically says so. Like there's adult comedy, right? Because there's profanity and crass language that's in there, and that makes sense, right? And there can sometimes be teen-only events or things like that. But most events, like the vast majority, are open to guests of all ages. So unless it says so, it's not the case. So what you want to do, Cameron, quite frankly, this is one of my favorite tips. Read a past cruise compass. Go to RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, on Cruise Compass in the main menu. Find the ship you're sailing on, ideally the same ship and the same itinerary, and you get a really good idea of all the activities you can do every day of your cruise. There's plenty to do on board for kids, whether they're 12 or 13 or 8 or 4 or 1. Well, maybe not 1, but there's things for them to do on there. And some of it is really, I think the nature of it is good for families. Some is good for the kids on their own. But a lot of kids, and I think you have a son, right? The sports deck. There's a lot of things happening with the kids there. There's also the kids club and the teens club, which are more organized activities. So in short, yes, there's lots for kids to do on board the ship, and they don't have to be tied to your hip necessarily every single moment of the day. Blake wants to know, what is my favorite drink on the ship? Lava Flow with Kraken rum, by far. Love that. JP wants to know, is there an email address or a way to contact room attendants and dining room staff for requests before sailing on a lure? No. No. If you're staying in a balcony room or lower, or junior suite or lower, I should say, no. If you're staying in a suite, a couple days before your cruise, the concierge will email you, and then you can make requests. But otherwise, honestly, you don't need to do that. Once you get on board the ship, your stateroom attendants and the dining room staff will be there, and you can speak with them at that point in order to get those taken care of. Thank you for your super chats earlier. Appreciate you. Jamie wants to know, do I look to get a room again that I really liked? I don't know that I ever go, I stayed in room 78, 28. Let me go find that room again to book. Certain categories, yeah, but not the specific room number. I don't think I've ever gotten that question before. Giga Chat, what an epic name. Can you watch TikTok or YouTube with the Wi-Fi package? Yes, you can. Whether or not the internet works good enough is a different story, but yes, it will work on those things, theoretically. Sandra, on Odyssey of the Seas, how tough is it to attach your cables for streaming? Actually, you don't have to do that at all, Sandra. On Odyssey, it's one of the few ships that has streaming available. So once you get on board the room, there's AirPlay or the other thing for Android, and you can connect. I think it's actually not AirPlay, it's Android one. Anyway, you can connect to the TV wirelessly. There's in the menu, it'll say streaming services or something like that, and you can connect your device that way. It's the easiest way to do it, quite frankly. Let's see. Next question. Adam Voss. Adam, thank you for the super chat. Love your advice. Just got back from Harmony of the Sea. Something I think would help others would be a step-by-step Miami Terminal debarkation video. It was very stressful not knowing what to do driving in. You mean embarkation or disembarkation? Either way, thank you for the suggestion and the super chat, of course, Adam. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Gotta catch up with the super chats, guys. So let's go. Danny DiMatteo. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. And James Wilson. Thank you for the super chat. Can I bring a plug-in fan for the white noise in the cabin? I think it depends. The problem is the fire hazard more than anything. My advice to you is to bring a white noise generator app. Like there are plenty of apps that do this, and I think that would be the safest way to do it because I'm going to guess you're bringing your phone. But I can't promise you. If I know people have brought white noise machines on there, but I can't promise you with 100% certainty that you can bring the device on there. Again, I'd be worried about being confiscated for being a fire hazard. Is Ripcord by iFly still open on Quantum? Yes. The rumor was it was being discontinued. No. I think you're referring to the SkyPad, not Ripcord by iFly. So, no, it's still definitely available right there. Keith Bruce wants to know which bungalows at Cocoa Key include the Beach Club restaurant. Any of them that are at the Cocoa Beach Club, Keith. So it's got to say Cocoa Beach Club Cabana, whether it's over the water or the beach ones. Francis is sailing on Harmony of the Seas from Barcelona. My dad is diabetic. Which travel insurance do you recommend? There's a number of them that are available. They're not all the same, Francis. And my needs are going to be different than your dad's needs. So what you want to do is look and compare them and find one that works good for you. A really good website, I don't have an affiliation with them, but I think it's a good resource, is insuremytrip.com. And you can compare and contrast travel insurance policies. Darren's got a question for us. None of my purchases and reservations are showing in the app. Find on the website. Will this cause any issues? I don't think so. Listen, would it surprise you, Darren, that the Royal Caribbean app or Royal Caribbean systems are not working at 100% efficiency? As long as you see them on the website, I think you'll be fine on that one. So that's what I would look at, quite frankly. A lot of stuff doesn't get loaded in the app until much closer to the sailing. So yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. Let's see here. Autumn wants to know, what is the difference between the Royal Caribbean free internet and Vroom, just quality? No, there is no free internet, Autumn. You can use the internet in the sense that you can only use the Royal Caribbean app for free. If you actually want to access anything else on the internet, whether it's your email, Google, social media, YouTube, that requires a Vroom internet plan. So, Sandra Ortega, thank you for the super chat. Well, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your generosity. Very, very kind of you. Let's see here. Pineapple Makani wants to know, has anyone ever done the plane spotting at Maho Beach, St. Martin? Yeah, I've done it a couple times. I would say this. I think it's cool. I think it's cool for about one or two airplanes, and then it gets a little tired, and that beach is nothing special. So my advice to you is go there in the morning, go check out one of the airplanes. After one goes by, yay, go find something else to do. I don't think it's an all-day activity. I think it's good for an hour or so. Mike wants to know, does Royal Caribbean offer a behind-the-scenes tour? They do. It does cost money. You can purchase it before the cruise via the Cruise Planner website. But yeah, it appears not as an excursion. It would be under a different category. It's under, I think, entertainment, I believe. One of those tabs. Ooh, Teresa, that's a good recommendation for the white noise machine, a USB white noise machine. USB is key right there. So yeah. Let's see here. Tamara wants to know. Let me get a drink of water. What options are available from port going to Atlantis without a tour? I don't know. If you don't have a tour, there's not. I mean, it's a hotel without you're not a guest of, right? I'm not sure what you could do beyond that. I believe you can purchase admission to Atlantis from other places, like not necessarily through Royal Caribbean, but you definitely want to have like a reservation of some kind. I think resortforaday.com still sells them. I'm checking right now. During COVID, they kind of cut back on those things. Let's see here. Baja Bay. No, I don't see it anymore. Maybe they don't. Honestly, unless you have a tour of some kind tomorrow, you got a reservation either through Royal Caribbean or a third party. That's the only way you can do. You can't just show. I mean, I think you can walk through the lobby or the hotel, but I think that would not be much of a day, more of an hour, quite frankly. Elizabeth wants to know, how does the Italian night in the main dining room compare to Giovanni's? It's a good question. I don't know that. I mean, obviously they both have Italian food. The Italian night menu is not exclusively Italian food. There are other things, other types of cuisines on the menu, despite the name of the theme. Giovanni's is all Italian food. So you want to talk about, some people might say, well, the quality of the food. Yeah, I would argue also the quality is a little bit better in terms of what you're getting at Giovanni's. So for selection, quality, it's superior in a specialty restaurant. I think that's fair to say. That's what I would say anyway. That's why I said it. Kwame's got a question. We just got off Freedom of the Seas. Love the ship. What's the ship that you would recommend with that same style but bigger? Oasis class, Kwame. So Oasis, Harmony, Allure, Symphony, Wonder of the Seas. That's where you want to go, my friend. Let's see. Well, we only have time for a couple more questions, guys. I'm gonna try to get to as many as I can. But yeah. Maddie, what is my favorite ship in Royal Caribbean? Wonder of the Seas. Fantastic. Michelle wants to know, does Mariner have a drink of the day each day of the cruise? Yes. Every Royal Caribbean cruise ship has a drink of the day. You'll see it listed in the cruise compass, in the app as well. And look for signs on the bar that indicate what the drink of the day is. Or you can just simply ask your waiter or bartender, hey, or pardon me, what is the drink of the day? And they will let you know about that. But yes, absolutely. Yeah, the balloon drop is definitely back. When we were on Wonder of the Seas, they were doing it. And I believe it's been on other ships as well. So yeah, absolutely. Good to go there. Let's see. Ooh, TM is on board Allure of the Seas. The internet here is really nice. I am so glad to hear that because the internet was terrible when I was on there in December, but I'm hopeful, or in March. I'm hopeful that it's getting better. And it sounds like it definitely is. So that's awesome. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Douglas, I booked Mr. Sancho's on Oasis in 21 days. Is that bad that I should rebook to Paradise? I've been to Paradise, but not to Sancho's. I was not impressed by Mr. Sancho's for a couple of reasons. I thought it was oversold. I thought the food was terrible, and the internet didn't work at all. And I thought it was overcrowded. I did not like it for all those reasons. I've been there a couple times, with my most recent time since the pandemic being very disappointing. I think Nachi Kokum offers a much better experience because they limit the amount of people there. I think the Del Mar Latino Beach Club, which doesn't have a great beach at all, still is superior because, again, limited capacity. The Paradise Beach is good too, but you've been there already. I'd go to Nachi Kokum. That'd be my recommendation. I just think it's a better overall experience for that kind of a day. Riptide Minnesota is going on their first Royal Caribbean cruise after having 5 or 6 on Carnival. What are the best differences between the cultures of the ship that I should know? Boy, that's a loaded question. How much time we got? Not enough to talk about that. I don't know. I mean, number one, first and foremost, I've never sailed on Carnival, so I don't think I'm really in a position to give you definitive advice as to the culture difference between the ships. I think Carnival and Royal Caribbean obviously offer a more similar experience than not. I think you're going to find more similarities than differences. So let's start with that because they're both mass market cruise lines. And if you've been on one of Carnival's newer ships like the Vista class or obviously the Mardi Gras or, other newer, bigger ships, aka not the Spirit class, I think you're going to quite frankly find a more similar cruise experience. I think what you'll find is the shows and entertainment, I think, tend to be superior on Royal Caribbean. I think the free/complimentary pool food venues tend to be better, or the Lido deck on Carnival tend to be better on Carnival. But I think you're going to find a very compelling option. Lots of cool things to do. It's hard to really give you a definitive answer here in about 30 seconds. So yeah. William, yeah, if you have a dining package and you're going to an a la carte restaurant, you get a $20 stipend per person. So you can spend more than that, William, obviously. Number one, you can pool a $20 limit, but if you spend more than $20 per person, you're going to obviously incur the difference, quite frankly. So there you go. Josh, what's the best way to get a ride back from a beach club in Cozumel? Just walk outside the beach club. There'll be one there. Cozumel is not a problem getting a taxi from any of the popular areas. Nachi, Mr. Sancho's, there's taxis all over the place. Worst case scenario, there's not one there. Ask the restaurant or the beach club staff. They can call you one. It's not a problem at all. But usually there's a bunch of them just sitting there waiting for you to come out. Mike's first, we have a lot of first-time cruisers here. First Royal Caribbean cruise on Navigator in July. Which excursions do you recommend in Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan? Cabo, I would definitely, when are you going? July. I don't think it's whale watching season, but I would do something on the water, do some sort of a yacht, boat, catamaran kind of thing. Puerto Vallarta, that's a beach day. Find a good beach club to go to. Mazatlan, they have a wonderful downtown. They've got tequila factories you can visit. But I think going downtown to their area and walking around there is pretty cool. And they have a nice beach as well. So, yeah. Am I on Icon's maiden voyage? Heck yeah, I am. Absolutely. We have a super chat that came in from Carrie B again. My dude, thank you, Carrie, so much. Podcast follow-up. Mariner Dunes isn't ADA compliant, stairs only, no elevator access. Thank you, my friend. That was actually a question from last week's podcast episode, and I wasn't sure on that. So thank you for confirming that. Appreciate that. We have a super chat coming in from Adam, I see. Hold on a second. Adam says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. Embarkation. Oh, this is the Miami question. My main port step by step would be helpful. We'll definitely save our children from hearing saying a lot of expletives we don't want them to hear. I'm surprised almost that you're saying that, because I think Port Miami Terminal A is great. Now, if you went out of Terminal G, yeah, you're not wrong. But Terminal A, I mean, all cruise terminals are basically the same. You're going to pull up. If you have a car, you're going to park your car. Then you're going to take your luggage. You're going to go over to the porters. You're going to give the porters your luggage. They're going to check your documentation to make sure you're on this cruise. Yes, you are. Okay. You're let into the building. You go through security, and then they do a check-in process. There are little variations, like on Port Canaveral, they check some of your paperwork in the beginning. Then you go through security. Then you do the real check-in, and then you go sit down and wait to board your ship. But that's essentially how the process works pretty much at all the ports in Florida, and in Miami especially. So I'm not sure exactly beyond that what else I could offer, other than, of course, your online check-in beforehand. Have your set sail passes and your passports ready to go, so you can show them anytime. And that's it. That's basically the how I would go about it. Del Mar Latino Beach Club was great in my experience, but I enjoy the beach, just not the pool. Yeah, I like the pool more than the beach, so I'm okay with not it. But that is definitely a downside. The Del Mar Beachy Mama is that they don't have a beach. They have ocean access, but there's no sandy beach. It's literally just all of a sudden you're in the ocean, which is fine if you just want to be in the water, but it's not that beautiful vista, if that makes sense. I think we had a super chat. Oh, yes. Thank you to the super chat from Disney Charlton. Family of 6 traveling to Alaska on Wonder in August. Are sunny days really bathing suit weather on the outdoor pool deck? It depends on your definition of bathing suit weather. If you're like my friend Mike Newell, the answer is yes. Like, if you don't mind swimming in 60 degrees, I mean, the water's going to be heated, so it will be reasonable, but you'll be chilly when you get out of the water, right? Obviously, it depends on the day. Some days are warmer than others, but it's not going to be 80 by any means, and that kind of hot, probably. So, but for a lot of people, hey, listen, hot tubs, it's nice when you're in there, and then you have your towel nearby, and you quickly run back in, and you can go from that perspective, quite frankly. Slew Dog, thank you for the super chat. Sailing on Oasis 3-night dining package, 2 adults, 1 11-year-old boy. What do kids get at each restaurant? Only see kids menu at Chops. Don't worry. While there is a kids menu, they can order off the adult menu, whichever they prefer. They can go off the kids menu, the adult menu, or both. Doesn't matter. So don't feel like your kids are limited to the to just the kids menu on there. Ron wants to know, is it true the dinner menu no longer has everyday favorites? Yes, that is correct. They changed the menus at the early part of this year. Gene Smith with an epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Gene. My goodness. Gene wrote Harmony a week from Saturday. My dude, have an awesome time. Yeah, you're going to love Harmony of the Seas. And wow, thank you for the epic super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jason Fios, thank you for the, or is it Fios like the internet? Anyway, Jason, thank you for the super chat. First timer going on Vision of the Seas. Thoughts? When any ship that's out there, Jason, a cruise is what you make of it. Most importantly, I think when people talk, usually when I get a question like this, they want to say, okay, Matt, I kind of know this ship is old, small. So is this a problem or not? Only a problem, only bad if there's something on board the ship you really want and it doesn't have. As an example, Jason, you might say, well, I really need to have water slides. Okay, well, Vision doesn't have water slides, right? And she doesn't have Central Park or Boardwalk or a flow rider, right? But it still has great nightly entertainment. It still has the Schooner Bar, and it still has a couple specialty restaurants, and it has a beautiful view out of the Viking Crown Lounge, and its pool deck is fine. And there's advantages and disadvantages to every single ship in the fleet. So my advice to you is obviously, listen, if we were to sit here and say, Matt, I want to go on a Royal Caribbean, first time cruiser, what ship would I pick? I wouldn't have said Vision of the Seas off the bat, but that doesn't mean it's a bad ship. Just keep your expectations in line as to what it actually offers. Just is the key worth on older ships? I don't like the key at all, Jason, whether we're talking about Wonder of the Seas or Vision of the Seas. I think it sounds better than it is, so I wouldn't recommend it. Which drink package works? I'm not sure what you mean by works, but I would just simply say that the drink package, I don't know. Your message got cut off there. I'm not sure where you're going with that one. But all the drink package works, if that's true, on Vision of the Seas. I don't think that was your question, but we'll go with it right there. Let's see. See, Mike Newell, as confirmed, I like the cold. What can I say? The cold never bothered you anyway. Is that what you were trying to say there right there? Ross, why did they remove the sky pad? Don't know. Royal Caribbean hasn't said why. Jessica, going on a 3-night Liberty of the Seas cruise, you recommend getting drink packages or pay as you go? Depends on how much you drink, Jessica. If you drink or can drink 5 to 6 drinks every day of your cruise, to get a drink package. Otherwise, you're better off paying a la carte. American Off-Road Adventures, thank you for the super chat. Heading to Nassau in a couple of weeks. How hard is it to catch a taxi to Breezes from the cruise port? Very easy. There's there as soon as you walk out of the port area, you'll see plenty of taxis waiting for you. So not to worry about that. Thank you for your generosity with the super chat. And our last message today from Mr. Mike Newell. I like the cold. What can I say? Mike, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. If you ever book that cruise that I told you to book, I'll pay you back in drinks. Oh, actually, just kidding. We still have a message here from Kenneth Rourke. Thank you, Kenneth, for the super chat. Headed to Labadee several times this year. Just want to know if you had any pointers. Yes. I would say, so the least crowded beach is Columbus Cove. The problem with Columbus Cove is you have to walk through the artisan market, which can be kind of aggressive. It doesn't bother me, but some people it really bothers. So that's something to keep in mind. The next best beach would be Nellie's Beach. If at all possible, since you're going multiple times, I'd at least try a cabana once. They're pricey, but I think they're worth it, and they're not nearly as pricey as the cabanas at Coco Key yet. So I would recommend getting a cabana there. The lunch is the same anywhere you go. So, and quite frankly, the lunch is pretty meh on Labadee. It's so much better on Coco Key. So you can kind of take that as you will. And if you want something kind of neat or different, there are not hiking. They're more like walking trails, nature trails, towards the west side of Labadee. And you can, those are kind of nice. I'd go in the morning when it's not like surface of the sun hot yet. It can be really nice to do that kind of something a little bit different. Can adults order off the kids menu? Yes, I have confirmed that. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Ainsley in the chat and says the new menu rocks. Yes, I love the new menu. It's great. Glad to hear that you liked it as well. So, I wasn't going to sing Frozen, but now that you mention it, snow glows cold on the mountain tonight. I don't know all the words. Something looks like I'm a queen. A kingdom of isolation. That's all I know. All right. And Frozen fractals all around. That's the most important line right there. All right, guys. On that note, I will spare you the singing, partially because I don't know the words. And we will wrap up this broadcast with you guys. Thank you so much for your generosity today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being in the chat, hitting the like button, being nice to Tony Diaz. Very much appreciated to each and every one of you guys. Big thanks to our super chatters. Before we get going, I'll say thank you once more to the super chatters. Kenneth, thank you. Mike Newell, thank you. American Off-Road Adventures, thank you. Jason Fios, thank you. Gene Smith, thank you. Slew Dog, thank you. Disney Charlton, thank you. Adam Voss, thank you. Carrie B, thank you. Sandra, thank you. James Wilson, thank you. Danny DiMatteo, thank you. Adam Voss again, thank you. The Teresa McShane, thank you. Gaming with Julian, thank you. Tyler Mahaffey, thank you. Aaron Ross, thank you again. Lauren Lisco, thank you. Andy Wilson, thank you. Gary D, thank you. Laura, thank you. Gaming with Julian, thank you again. Ron Ladowski, thank you. Sean McNamara, thank you. Larry Turner, thank you. Aaron Newby, thank you. JP, thank you. John Walker, thank you. BK Lounge 87, thank you. Michael S, thank you. Mark Olwick, thank you. Diamond Dave Grossi, thank you. Chris, thank you. Carrie Camille, thank you. Cruise People, thank you. Ryan, thank you. Carrie B, thank you. Ruth Ann, thank you. JP, thank you again. Morgan Colley, thank you. Aaron Ross, thank you. Diamond Dave, thank you again. Sharon B, thank you. Nicholas F, thank you. Jonesy, thank you. Aaron Ross, thank you again. Limo Guy Channel, thank you. Ed Vira, thank you so much. Guys, next Monday, we will be live on Mariner of the Seas. I'll be in Cozumel, so I am making plans to make sure we will have cellular internet. I don't have any, I think it's going to work. So we'll be live from Mariner of the Seas in Cozumel, internet permitting. It will be during the daytime. So look for the change in time for Monday. I apologize, but it's either that or unless the Mariner internet blows me away, I'm not risking it. We'll go on cellular when we get there. Anyway, we will have a broadcast on Monday. It'll be at a different time from Mariner this season. Until then, guys, have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun, and we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.